Hey, Bulldog fans! Welcome to Inside the Huddle, the podcast that brings you the heart and soul of Raleigh Bulldogs high school sports. All right, everyone. Welcome to Inside the Huddle, brought to you by Romo Athletics and powered by our title sponsor, Phelps County Bank. They are 100% employee owned. They are 100% community champions. They are bankers by day. Do you know what they are by night?
No, I can't remember it.
Bulldog fans.
Bulldog fans.
Bulldog fans. Yeah, so we've
I've heard it a few times, but I've slept a few nights since the last
I
time.
hear it. I hear it. So go to mypcv.com, find out more about Phelps County Bank. Appreciate them. So here we are. This is season 3, episode 71 of the season. And this is the Taylor Chrysler Coach Talk Edition. And we are joined today by Coach Josh Vinyard of our Bulldog tennis team. Man, thanks for being here, Coach.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Hey, we stopped by earlier and we were watching the boys. So out there and I snapped a couple pictures and everything. And we were talking about how he didn't know I was out there. And that's how involved he was. Now, the reality is practice. What time was the first practice?
3:30 to 5.
3:35. And then we have,
We have 39 guys this year.
39.
So we have a ton of guys out there trying to get better. So we to get our higher ranked players plenty of opportunities, and these guys our new guys plenty of opportunities. We practice from 3:30 to 5 with our top 20 players. Then after that, our 21 through 39 come in from 5 o'clock to 6:30. So we just have to split it up.
So that's long. That's a long practice.
It is. It's
After
long
you've
practice.
been teaching all day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's fine. I love it. We have fantastic kids. They want to learn. They're eager to learn. So it really, like, the time today just flew by. It's beautiful weather outside.
Oh, it is.
Time flies by. So no, it's a blessing to get to coach that many kids. They're having fun with it, getting better, and so yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, that's it's exciting to see that many kids coming out as always. Before we jump into how the team's looking for this year,
Yep.
let's reflect back on where we were from the season. Did you have what's your I know it's kind of different because you have
Yeah.
duels and then you have
Individual tournaments.
yeah.
We have flighted tournaments, and so our overall record last year was 16-6, and so that was our 5th straight year with 16 or more wins, and
Which is good, yeah.
So so we're playing really played really well all season, and we were kind of shorthanded. Joe ended the basketball season with a stress fracture, so we we thought we had a chance. We could maybe go get 20 and play for a district championship with him in that mix, and then we lost him right off the bat, so we kind of had to juggle everything, and that kind of shifted everybody around in singles, and people had to play up early in spots they weren't maybe even like expecting or ready to play. But our kids just responded fantastic, and it really toward the middle end of the season, Joe got to play. We went to the flighted tournament at Waynesville, and Joe played one doubles with Keaton in a boot.
Yeah,
A boot. And when I say a boot, I mean, I'm not talking about like an ace bandage on your ankle. I'm talking about a literal walking boot.
Velcroed on there,
Velcroed
hard plastic. Yeah.
But Joe's such a competitor, and he got clearance to do it because we thought he might get clearance to play in the district tournament. So we had to get him a couple matches, and so he played in a boot all day, and it was fantastic because we saw coaches like watching just on that court, because here's this guy out here in a walking boot, and they're just dominating everybody. And the other team would try to take advantage of Joe because they knew he couldn't move very well, and so they'd try to drop shot and they'd try to make him chase stuff, and then he just got to it all day long. And so he just kept getting to the ball, and then those guys win a championship over there in a walking boot, and it was fantastic. It was just a great moment, and
And
coaches,
senior,
and coaches will talk about that. I mean, other players remember, hey, this guy won this thing in a boot, and so it was a fantastic moment. Cam and Pax, they won the doubles bracket number 2 over there as well, and so it was a fantastic day. But Joe just battled through, and then we didn't really know districts wise. We're going to be with Branson. We're going to be with Springfield Central, who's always a traditional power in tennis. So then we finally got Joe out of a boot, and they put this metal plate in his shoe. So you put it under the insole, and they put the insole on top. So it gave him a lot more mobility. It wasn't such of an encumbrance to him. So they went over there, and they got beat in the first round. So they didn't play bad, but they got down. I think they were down 9-6 in a 10-point tiebreaker, and then ended up winning 11-9. And then they the very next round, they had to play Branson's doubles #1 team, and we couldn't get a good seed because they hadn't played very much together. So those guys just took it right to Branson's doubles team and upset those guys, um, and then got to play for a championship and beat a really good Glendale team for a championship and got to state. And then once we got to state, we won our first round match. We got a great draw and won our first round match. And then those guys got to play Jeff City Jays, and those were kind of been our nemesis for the last handful of years. And in that match, we were 1 point away from being in the Final Four. So we had match point in a 10-point tiebreak. I think we were up 9-8 and had a match point and came up short, but we played fantastic match, and those guys had a great run at it. So overall, great season. As far as duels go, win-loss wise, we took second in the Lebanon Camdenton tournament early in the year, which we had won the 4 years before that, but we got beat by a good Lebanon team in the championship, and they're going to be really good again this year. And so it was a great season as a team, and then we made a run to have a chance to be all state at the end. So it was fantastic year for our guys.
Yeah, that's and so you graduate graduate more seniors, but on the varsity mix, again, losing Joey Foster, which you've already talked about, his ability to battle through and just a competitor, and Luke Foster had played tennis as well and went on, so it was kind of neat to see that, and they got to play together for a while, and then Elson Wang, Elson Wong, him.
Those two guys, they were fantastic. Joe, of course, not just because he was a good tennis player, he's a great person. And I ran into Chris a couple days ago and just mentioned to him that it's hard to believe we don't have a Foster boy playing. And had one for every year I've been here doing this. So it's hard not to think like, hey, Joe, at least come practice with us every once in a while. But it's been, those two guys were fantastic. And Elson, he played since his freshman year, so he won a lot as a freshman at 6 for us, and then he gradually moved up the ranks. Played 2 most of the year last year until we got Joe back at the end. But Elson graduated as our all-time leading win singles in school history. So no one's won more singles matches in Rolla tennis history than Elson has. And so,
that's huge.
It was funny because we had a freshman over there tonight after practice, and Owen Black, who's one of our juniors, who's really about to just blow up. He's going to make a big jump, and he and Elson have been hitting every day after practice. And I had a freshman. I said, that guy right there, he's won a lot of matches, and he's kind of taken Owen under his wing and helping him. So it's just fantastic to see that even now he's graduated, but he's out of the courts every day, and he's putting into the program still by helping our young guys develop. So it's fantastic, and he's a great person to have around anyways.
And that's what the program's about. And you talk about your numbers. I mean, the numbers that have come out for tennis, I mean, what were they when you first started?
I think we were 17, 18, somewhere in that ballpark, and then we got over 20, and then I think we got 28, and I think this is our third year in a row, third year in a row where we're over 30 kids. So now we've got a lot of kids.
And we have 6 courts out there?
Yeah, we have 6 courts.
And we're over here at the center, so appreciate the center letting us do this. Over at Bear One tennis courts is where the team practices. But 6 courts, so that's why you got the double practices.
But it's really good. And really, we have to. We have no choice because we were talking at the beginning of the year with all the young guys because we had them all together. And to see that many guys, especially if you're toward the bottom of that rank, you're like, how in the world do I get through that many guys in order to get up onto the varsity level? And we asked, like, hey, Cam Brown, what were you at when you started your freshman year? And he's like, I was 25 of whatever. And so I was like, well, see, there's hope. He went from 25, and then the next year he was in our top 4. So in that shortest span of time, he made that big a jump. But we just don't get them until they're freshmen. So we have to keep them all. We can't cut as freshmen because there's no telling how many of those guys will develop and who will, really for us, there's really no reason why we should be really great at tennis. We don't have indoor courts anywhere. We have some access to people who can train kids, but we don't have a ton of that around either. But we just have gritty kids who will fall in love with it and go get better and spend all summer out there and figure it out and get better. So we have to keep them all. And hopefully I'm really excited about our sophomore group and our freshman group. So I think it's something where we can keep rolling into the future as our guys keep working at it.
Well, let's take a look at so you got your six, right? So it's always individuals are always top six run varsity, and then you'll have your three doubles, right?
Yep.
1, 2, and 3 doubles. So who do we got coming back? Who are your key? And first of all, is everyone healthy? Healthy?
Yeah, everybody's
Everyone
healthy.
healthy. Always like to
Everybody's
check
healthy.
that because again,
Yeah.
it's the Joe Foster thing. So we
Yep.
want to make sure everyone's healthy. And then after that, what are we looking at for the crew and who's 1 through 6?
So our 1 through 6, number 1 is Keaton Renaud, a senior for us. He's going to be one of the better players in Central Missouri. Every time he walks on the court, he's going to have an opportunity to win. Our number 2 is Kyle Robinson, a sophomore. So he was our 5 last year. At the end of the year in districts, he upset the number 1 seed in singles and then made it into the semifinals and ended up getting 4th in singles as a freshman. So we knew that was going to happen. That is a good possibility that he would leapfrog some guys. Cam Brown's another senior who's our 3. Pax Ledbetter's 4. Then we have Connor Johnson, who's our 5. He's a senior as well. So he's been around the program for 4 years and super good athlete. So he played really well in the ranking tournament and he's good athlete and super aggressive. And so at 5, he's going to be able to surprise some people. And just because most 5s don't go to the net all the time,
Right.
And he's real aggressive, and he's gonna serve, and then he's just gonna attack.
Nice.
So it's kind of a different pace for us at 5, and then our 6 is Logan Dunn, who's a junior. He was in 10, 11, 12 last year, but really fell in love with it. And he and Kyle Robinson are cousins, and so those guys just hit all
the time.
played all the time, and so he's got developed a really good first serve. So now it's just us getting him enough opportunity and practice to learn match play and how to play a match and win matches. So that rounds out our top 6. But we've got other guys right behind him. We got a junior class with Tristan Ace. He just started last year, but he's our 7. Jack Greenway's our 8. Loyal Davis is our 9. Owen Black's our 10. Those guys are both juniors. And then we've got Henry Davis and Cosmo Vincent Conger, both freshmen, who are right there in that 12 mix. So those guys are right knocking on the doorstep. But probably those guys will be our top 6 guys. They'll be our singles guys to start the year. But our doubles teams, Keaton and Kyle they're 1 and 2. So those guys will be our doubles number 1. And Cam and Pax have played a lot together.
Oh, a lot
together. So those guys are real seasoned together at doubles 2. And then Connor Johnson and Jack Greenway, who's our 8. Connor's our 5, and Jack's our 8. Those guys are right now our doubles 3. But Cam and Pax probably won't want me to say this live stream or anything like that. But Jack and Connor played Cam and Pax yesterday in practice and beat them. And so there was some great competition there. And those guys, it went to a 7-point tie break, third set tie break. But it was great because we didn't really know on that 3 doubles like how quickly they would gel. But seeing that yesterday gets us really excited. That our doubles 3 can play well enough to beat our doubles 2, and our doubles 2 is pretty good.
Yeah, and that's what it all comes down to when it comes to the tournaments and the seedings and getting in districts is where those levels. Again, Keaton's already been the number 1 before, so we know he knows the challenge, the grind that he's up against.
Yeah.
But it's those next tier ones. It's winning the 6s and the 5s and the 4s and all the way through. And same thing with your doubles is the more you can bring that up and have those points, that's how you win the things. I remember going that with you last year.
Yeah.
You would switch some things up to how you could pair people up in the doubles to try and get those points and win those points.
Yeah, so it's always a little bit of a trick. Sometimes it spells itself out and it lays itself out just a little bit easier than other years. But when I look back, we were Keaton and Cam and Pax and I were talking the other day about how every year we've won differently. Like we've either been really strong, like 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1 and 2 doubles have been really strong, or we've been a little bit less competitive at 1 and 2, but then we've won 4, 5, 6, and 1 or 2 and 3 doubles. And so every year it's a little bit different. I think we're going to be really strong at the top. Like I think our 1 and 2 doubles we'll have a chance to win every night, and our 1, 2, 3, 4 is going to be really strong. Like Cam and Pax, because of Joe's injury, played 3 and 4 singles all year last year. Well, then Kyle leapfrogs them. They're better right now, and they're going to play. They're still going to play 3 and 4.
Right.
So our positions are even stronger at 3, 4. So our top lineup is going to be really good, and I think our 3 doubles are going to be strong. So it's just getting those 5 and 6 guys experience in singles matches, but hopefully by the end of the year we can make another run and try to play for a district title. So
it's going to be a lot of fun, definitely.
It is, definitely.
So let's take a look at our sponsors before we jump into the upcoming schedule, and some of the other activities. So we got, as we already talked about, Inside the Huddle's title sponsors, Phelps County Bank. Appreciate them. You can click this QR code, scan the QR code, or you can go to mypcv.com and find out everything you can about all the activities they have. Taylor Chrysler is our Coach Talk sponsor. So they sponsor all the Coach Talk editions. Appreciate that. Jeremy Shelton over there, also involved in basketball, and Nick's been on that process before. Home Sweet Mo Properties, they do our spotlight editions, which is our senior signings, senior nights, meet the sponsors, alumni activities. So appreciate Danielle and Jared out there at Home Sweet Mo Properties. Always give a shout out to Kobe Wands, Wand Skills Academy, two-time All-State Bulldog, has his facility out there, I guess just a couple months away
getting geared up
from opening up. So I think they're getting ready for the floor and stuff. And I think then that'll be around 60, 70 days after that. So kind of excited. It's going to be excited. Jackie Morozowitz in full bloom. Does a great job with the backdrop rental, the balloon decor. Appreciate everything she does to make everything special. And then the season ticket, OJP Maxwell over there on ESPN 104.9, Tuesdays 5 to 6 p.m. Always give a shout out. We talk about the Bulldogs, everything. So that is kind of an exciting time. So appreciate that. So upcoming Tuesday is your first match, right?
Tuesday we open up at West Plains on Tuesday.
Always a tough one. And on it, so in every other sport, West Plains is always like the Friday one.
Yep.
But because you have to play early anyways, because not everybody always has all the lights and stuff.
Yep.
You're able to get out of course, we're on spring break,
Yep.
but that 4 o'clock at West Plains on a Tuesday night, so no school the next day.
Yep.
But that's a long drive. And so what's your thoughts about prepping for West Plains?
Yeah, I think we just try to take and control what we can control and just get as much hitting time as possible. And we've played pretty well against them the last few years, and so our guys will go in fairly confident to go down there and do what we do well. And but they it's always a long bus ride, and all of that stuff can throw a wrench in it. But I think we're healthy. I think we'll be in good shape to go down there and compete real well to get us off to a good start.
Do you have anybody on spring break? All your main varsity guys going to be there?
Yeah, the only guy we won't have on Tuesday is Cam Brown. So that'll juggle our lineup.
Okay.
We've already started to kind of make preparations for that. So Cam will be there for that one. And as a senior, it's kind of one of those things. We've really tried to avoid spring break. But the state association shortened our season from 14 weeks to 13. And then with a week-long spring break, if we don't play any matches there, then basically our season just went to 12 weeks. And so when you do the district and state tournaments, our month of April is just like crammed full. So we couldn't avoid putting one there, and it just happened that he had already made some plans, and so we'll go down there and play without him on that night. But other than that, we should have everybody else.
So then your first home match will be against Hickman on April 1st.
Yeah,
April Fools.
They are a load. So they beat us 4-5 last year. We didn't have Joe. But they beat us 4-5 last year, and they've got their top 6 guys back from last year.
Oh, wow.
That's going to be it'll be a great measuring stick to see where we're at early in the season, and we'll get to find some things that we need to get better at, and then it'll help us as we get ready for the big push in the middle of the season to figure out, hey, what do we still got to get better at?
Well, that's that fine line between getting confidence up and letting them see what they got to know. So, like you said, you can make your assessment. Yeah. And I always like having those early contests where you got to, settle down. Let's take a look. You can get through a couple of them, but now we got to go. What's your thoughts?
Yeah.
And I think with this group, again, with the veterans that you have, it's going to be a nice approach on that too.
Yeah, and our guys that are coming back, they remembered last year, and they didn't like going down there and losing to those guys. And Coach Jackson there does a great job with his kids, and it was a really fun high school tennis match, but it left a bitter taste in our guys' mouth. So they're ready to go pull the upset, so to speak, and take it to them on that day. So we'll see what we get done. But
well, that's what you want to have, man. We'll
get tested. We'll get tested early for sure there.
Yeah, and looking at some of the other ones, then you got Parkview right after that, I guess. And
we have Parkview, Glendale both. We always play them in a double duel, so we'll go down and we'll get to play that at Cooper.
Yeah,
so that's
always
really
nice.
fun experience to go there. Anytime we can play there, the facilities are fantastic, and so we'll get to play Parkview and play Glendale both on that day. So that'll get us rolling.
So we'll talk a little bit about some of the rest of the schedule as I ask some of these questions that I think might pop out.
Yep.
So let's look back at last season. Was there a favorite match that you had last season? something that stood out, like for whatever reason, the way it went down or who did it? I mean, is it like oh, hey, Joey played hurt and that was kind of cool in districts, or what was do you have something that stands out to you?
The individual district day when Joe and Keaton knocked off Branson's team, and that put us in the final. So we knew we were going to go to state. We knew we at least had that ticket punched, and whether or not we won the district or not, coaching for 20 some years, like that was one of those top tier emotional moments.
Yeah.
Like it was one of those, like, here's a guy who worked so hard in the off season to get ready for his basketball that he stress fractured himself, and then he has to miss most of his tennis season, and then to come back and play through all of that and just be a great kid regardless and be a great teammate. That moment was that was one of those really cool moments. But on the team side, we played Central in the semis here of the district championship, and we want to be a championship program, and you're not a championship program unless you're playing for championships. So we talk about that a lot. Championship programs play for championships. So to beat Springfield Central here at home, and some of those Springfield schools, they'll let us come play them there, but none of them want to come to Rolla.
No.
And so we have a hard time scheduling some of those better teams to Springfield, because if we do, we only can go most of the time we go there. So beating them on our home court was fantastic, and to get to go play for a championship against Branson, and we fell short in that match, but to continue to play for championships that was a good moment for us.
That's what you want to do.
Those moments are really,
that's great.
Really awesome
moments.
I
love those. And so, favorite place to play, is it the Cooper Tennis Complex, or do you have a different facility and everything that your favorite place to play?
I really like Cooper. But I love playing here at Bear One because our courts are a little different. The surface is different. And our guys are just, they know where the dead spots are, and they know where to put people. And it's really fun for me to have a match here, because we use that to our advantage as much as possible. But really, over the last few years, our guys are really good guys. They treat people the right way. So it's fun for me to be here because we have a huge student body turnout at our matches. We have students all over the courts watching, and parents. And anytime we go anywhere else, there's no crowd. There's none at all. But if you come to a home match here, our fans, our parents, our students at the high school, they all come and support these guys and watch. Even somebody from our community said the other day, like, hey, coach, I can't wait to come watch tennis matches. And they don't even have anybody in our program. They just like to come watch tennis matches. And so I would say my favorite place is to play here. And just because our crowd's different, it makes a fun atmosphere.
I love it. Yeah, that's true. I mean, I've been, Ethan and I would come down. We would show up at Waynesville a couple times, come down there and watch a little bit, cheer on the boys. And that's always a lot of fun. Do you have any new contests on this calendar? I mean, again, we don't have the conference, so hopefully that'll adjust soon. But on that, any new additions to our play?
We've got a couple of teams that we've added, but one of the big additions that I'm really excited about is we're going to host the RHS Central Missouri Classic here at Rolla this year. So April 17th, we're going to host a tournament all day here. It's a varsity tournament. It's done a little bit different. So instead of the 3 doubles, 6 singles, how it's set up is you play 7 players. So you play your 7 players, but you can play your best players. You play 3 singles and 2 doubles matches. And so it's best of 5 instead of best of 9.
Okay.
And so your 1 might play, they might play their top 4 players in doubles. So your 1 might play their 5 in singles. So it's kind of a chess match of where you put your guys and how you put them in order to get to get 3 wins out of 5. And so it's a round robin tournament. With Smith Cotton will be here, Reed Springs will be here on the other side of the bracket. He's going to be a really quality opponent. And so you'll play your pool play, and then the winner of each pool will play for 1st, 3rd, or 5th.
Nice.
And so we'll have an all-day tournament.
That's going to be cool.
I'm super excited about that. It's the first time we've been able to get all
that
like
together. That's great. Yeah, and that's one of the things that you always look forward to, that home tournament.
Right.
You guys haven't had it. Everything else we have those. So that'll be really exciting. That'll be, and again, you're going to get a good turnout on that too.
Yeah, and it's fun too because you'll play. We'll have 6 courts, so you'll put you'll put the doubles matches and all 3 singles all out at the same time.
Yeah.
So everybody's playing all 5 of those are playing at the same time. Your match is going to last between 45 minutes and an hour, depending on how some of those close matches are. So you'll have another tennis match every hour all day that day. So it'll be a lot of fun.
That'll be a great time. Anything that you're doing differently this year? Again, we already talked about, you win differently, and the teams will be a little bit different how you have it.
Yep.
Anything that you've adjusted, like in your preparation and the practices or your focus things, or is it kind of just you still have your kind of recipe you're going down? You have your practice plans and you're still going through it. I'm just looking, does anything change about what you're doing this year versus previous years?
Yeah, that's a good question. As far as like practice planning stuff goes, I have a practice card. It's laminated. And it's a single page, and pretty much we do something from this, and I can change it up.
Yeah.
But I can pretty much look at that. Hey, we got to do this, and I laminate it. So I just put it with a marker on there, and I erase it after every practice, and we can go through and here's what we got to do. The only really change that we've done this year, more than we've done in the last 5, is we put a little bit more focus on first serve.
Yeah.
So we've been serving a lot more. We've been good at our first serve, and we've had guys that can really bring it, but we're kind of trying to take it next level. And so in order to do that, you got to practice a lot more.
Yeah.
So we're getting more of those reps. That's the only thing everything else will stay pretty true, except for that. We're going to serve a lot more.
So it kind of reminds me with Coach Nixon talking about that in the golf, they're trying to, get their scores down. So their focus this year is on the wedges and dialing everything in. So they're spending more time on their wedges than they have in the past because, again, they have their drivers, they have the guys that are consistent there, but they really got to get that shorter game. So in your case, you're saying, oh, hey, we've been all right, but let's make sure, because you get those first service points. That's a heck of a lot better chance of getting that point than coming off that second one where they have the ability to return it a little bit easier because you typically are letting off those speeds, especially at high school.
Yes.
Not many people have that same second. I think Keaton does a pretty good job. His second's pretty much the same as his first, but he's about the only one.
Yeah, Keaton and Kyle both are like that. Pax's first serve, obviously, he can flat hammer it. And
so 6'7", he's bringing it down.
He's hitting down on it really well. And so we're kind of tweaking him a little bit to where we're trying to get him to where he can hit that first serve in 70% of the time.
Yeah.
And if he gets it in 70% of the time, he's going to be really good at singles, and there'll be a tough out in doubles. So we're just trying to get a higher level of consistency on his first serve. And Brownie's pretty good, first serve, second serve, but it's really will help even our 5 and 6, our 3 dubs a lot. So we're just trying to really, most tennis points, if I actually had the ability to stat them or video them and watch them, most tennis points they're won either on the serve, the return of serve, or +2 shots. And so we drill that. We have serve, return, +2, and you get more points if you win the point in those first 4 shots, because most tennis points are won within those first 4. So we're just trying to win it on the first one and put it away.
Don't even mess around with the other. I like that approach.
We'll just be a little more aggressive.
I like that for sure. So final question, bracket. Who you got? Who do you have in the final 4?
Well, we started practice today, and I get to the courts and I pull it up on my phone, and Duke's losing, and it's in the second half, and because I picked Duke to win it all, and I always pick him to win it all. So the years I'm excited is when they win it. But so I picked Duke to win it all, and I got Purdue I think on the other side, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, so I was a little nervous today. So then my guys were like, "Hey, coach, we need an update." So the whole time I was having to give some updates to guys because they were worried about their brackets. But I picked Duke to win it.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you, it should have been, because it was.
Yeah, I didn't get to watch it.
You'll have to go back and watch it. It was oh my. And it wasn't until late did they ever pull that thing out. And it looked like maybe it was going to happen. And then they had Sienna played all 5 guys, no subs.
Oh wow!
Entire game.
That's impressive.
And that's why they had their legs went. Missed dunks at the end, missed some other things. But they gave everything they had. So it was kind of cool.
That's what it's so much fun for.
Exactly. That's what March Madness about.
16.
So it's always a good time. Well, Coach, man, thanks a lot for joining us. Appreciate it. Thanking Inside the Huddle's title sponsor, Phelps County Bank. Thank you for Taylor Chrysler for being the sponsor of our Coach Talk Edition. I'm always excited to hear how it's going with tennis. We'll catch up as we go through the season. We'll jump in some more. I'll get out there and we'll get some little live stuff going on. I'm trying to figure out how we can do something from the live stream or something. We'll get something figured out.
They do have huddle cameras now that you can mount on the fence. We just got to get tech enough to go and get us.
We'll definitely. We'll have to get that done to get the booster club set up. We'll have that. It'll be a lot of fun. So I'm excited for it. Looking for just an exceptional year for you here at tennis.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. So for Coach Josh Vinyard. I'm Tom Brown from Inside the Huddle to the Heart of the Game. We'll see you next time.